So we wanted to do this video to give you guys a glimpse of the volunteer office. It's totally volunteer run, and Melissa, the person that we're going to be introducing you guys to, is actually one of the people who helped start it up. So it's a really cool space, and she'll talk more about what happens there, but one of the things that happens there is weekly phone banking. Every Sunday they have two shifts, one at 11 a.m., one at 1 p.m., and we usually go to the 11 a.m. one. That's the one we're going to right now. I'm here today with Melissa Michelson. She is the founding president of Feel the Bern Democratic Club of Los Angeles. She's also a former Bernie Sanders delegate and whip. She's also the current California Democratic Party delegate, and she's also the volunteer organizer for the Bernie Sanders Campaign 2020. Thank you for doing this interview with us, Melissa. My first question for you is, how did you get involved with Bernie Sanders in the first place?
Well, I was just telling someone yesterday that I called someone at work, a coworker, and I said, well, I guess I'm going to start thinking about the presidential, ticket, and I guess I'll vote for Hillary Clinton. And she was like, what are you talking about? I'm voting for Bernie Sanders. And I was like, who's that? And then it just started. Just kept getting involved, meeting more people, getting more involved, and finding kind of like what I'm good at. And then followed along in that path. So that's how I got involved.
Cool, thanks for sharing that. Yeah. And I know that you were a delegate and a whip for Bernie. How did you become those positions?
We had an election internally, just us, not guided by the Bernie campaign at all. And so we needed to, just like everything, Grassroots, we took things into our own hands, and we held a mini election. We had I had to write a whole bio and why I would be a good whip, and there was an election online because it was statewide. California is huge, so my other fellow delegates elected me as their whip. But more complex is how to actually become a delegate. Okay, so this is a congressional district in Los Angeles, one of many. I don't remember how many congressional districts are in LA or even in all of the whole country. Every state has different rules for picking delegates, but let's just take California. So this is a congressional district. It's all cut up, and this is another one, but let's focus on this one. Each one of these are little precincts, and we marked here that how many voters in that area went to Hillary Clinton is blue. Sorry, Bernie Sanders is blue and Hillary Clinton is red. So, for example, right here it says Sanders got 178 votes right in this area, which is probably a 2-mile radius, I'm not sure. And then Clinton got 176 votes, so 2 fewer votes than Bernie. So, based on all of this math, this congressional district will allocate a certain number of delegates for Hillary and a certain number of delegates for Bernie. This was last time. Now this time is going to be different because there's going to be more, and so it's going to be divided up even more. So congressional district, for example, congressional district 27, which is mine in the neighboring, right here in this one. This year, there are a total of 5 delegate positions open, and those 5 delegates will have the potential to go to the DNC. One of us in my district, for example, held the caucus. She organized the whole thing, and she put out a call to all the Bernie people, hey, there's this thing, you got to do it. So then I was like, I can do anything for Bernie, whatever he wants, whatever he needs, I'm going to do it. So I put my name in the hat, and I didn't know what that would mean at all, really. So what that entailed was going to a caucus, which just means a voting space. That was over in Altadena on May Day. There were 20 plus people running, and then the top female and male delegates or candidates, the vote getters, they will be the ones. So I was the number 1 woman vote getter. If he won that district, he could have sent all 6 of us, but because Hillary took a lot of votes from our area, he only got to take 3 of us.
So can you explain what the general role is of a delegate during a presidential election?
Yeah, so once you're chosen as a delegate by the people, then you're called a pledged delegate. You're supposed to vote for whatever candidate the people voted for you to represent at the DNC. So there was no flipping, there's no changing. You're supposed to vote for that person. I remember talking to my local congressional person, and these superdelegates are usually politicians. So I remember talking to her after I was a delegate, and I said, you know, who are you supporting? And she said, oh, I decided to endorse Hillary Clinton way long ago in February. And I said, well, what if the rest of your congressional district votes for Bernie, and you're supporting Hillary Clinton? How's that going to work? Because we were going to vote in June, and this was like April when I was talking to her. She got mad and walked away. So anyway, they can do what they want, and they kind of all put their support behind Hillary early on. But the fact of the matter is, they are supposed to be the tiebreakers. So those super delegates, they will go the day of, they will cast their vote, and then we will know, really, back then we would have known who the winner was. But the problem was, the media and the politicians, etc., they were all saying Hillary won going into the DNC, which wasn't true.
What was your experience as a delegate for Bernie like? I know you already touched on your experience, but are there any other events that are kind of notable that you'd like to share?
Oh, wow. The most memorable event for me was when they tried to eject me from the DNC arena. I was the whip, so I took my role very seriously of making sure my delegates in California had a seat for themselves, that there wasn't any fighting, that they knew what they needed to do. I called meetings, we had pre-meetings in the mornings, like I was kind of an organizer whip, along with the co-chairs. We had a leadership structure, which we ourselves as delegates put in. So, but by the third day, a lot of extra people were coming into the arena that were not delegates. They weren't for Hillary, they weren't for Bernie, they were like VIPs, or just people that the politicians would give, passes to or something, or husbands of Hillary delegates or whatever. After they announced who the nominee was, I was like, I kind of felt lost, like hopeless, like, well, what am I doing here now? I don't want to really be in this space anymore. So I turned around and left. And so did a lot of other delegates. I didn't know that's what was happening. We just kind of all naturally, organically kind of marched out. When I got out upstairs, there was just chanting, and we all kind of funneled into the media tent, which isn't a tent, it was a big white glass building, but we called it the media tent. And we got in there and we were really quiet, and we sat down and we took over the media. And they were taken aback and they didn't know what we were doing. And somehow I thought that was brilliant action. And then they started interviewing us, and then we got a lot of attention that way. And so we all had a different story to tell, and that was really, really memorable.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So speaking of all that, can you explain your experience starting up this volunteer office for Bernie, and what kinds of things happen here, and why is it so important for Bernie's campaign?
Okay, so this space is an office space that I kind of got wind of that someone was offering. This used to be a Bernie volunteer grassroots space last time, so she offered it to us Bernie people again. And now the California campaign is in California, but they haven't started any offices yet. So we started this one, a couple of us started this one in July, a couple months ago, and we had a kickoff, and so we do debate watch parties, we do crowd canvassing when there's a street fair right here. We support other Bernie people that want to start canvassing. I made like a canvas captain pack. So now there's someone doing it in West Hollywood or Silver Lake, and we're trying to support them.
Also, what are some differences in campaigning for Bernie this election cycle versus in 2016?
I feel there's a lot more support. They are trying to keep things tight. Like they will actively call us up and make sure that we're hosting a phone bank, and that is a phone bank. Or if it's not a phone bank, they'll say, you can't can't do that, or someone's watching. So it feels good though. So they're making sure we're all doing the same thing, as opposed to good luck, you're on your own. And now they also are kind of reminding people to, this is another example of how they got their act together. They're reminding people, like, don't forget to make your phone calls to get your volunteers to show up. And then there's the Bern app, which is a great little tool. We're all organizers at this moment because we have that Bern app tool, which is we can go out, we can ask people where they stand with Bernie and get Bernie their contact information, get that out to the campaign. And we don't need to wait for the California campaign. We don't need to wait for an office. Everybody can just already start doing that.
Hi, this is Johnny. I'm a volunteer with the Bernie Sanders campaign. Is Devin available?
I'm looking for Amy. She's not home. Okay.
I got hung up on. Gotta take the L and keep going. Hey, this is Johnny. I'm a volunteer with the Bernie Sanders campaign. Is Tyler available? Hey, Tyler. I just want to say Bernie's running for president to make our economy and our government work for all of us, not just the wealthy few. Are you a Bernie supporter?
Hi, Richard.
You are not? So you'll say, would you say you're undecided or unlikely to support Bernie? More undecided? Okay. Is there another candidate or candidates that you are feeling drawn to right now? Andrew Yang? You're in the Yang game. If you had to rank a second choice candidate, who might it be? Bernie and Elizabeth Warren?
Mm-hmm. Gotta keep going. Gotta persevere, Johnny. He tried to push me off. Hi, this is Natalie, a volunteer with the Bernie Sanders campaign. Is Claire available? Hi Claire, Bernie is running for president to make our economy and our government work for all of us, not just the wealthy few. Are you a Bernie Sanders supporter? Still undecided. Okay. So I believe personally in Bernie Sanders because he's fighting for Medicare for all, tuition-free college, passing a Green New Deal, and getting big money out of politics. All right, so we just ended with phone banking, and we also got some food around here that was really good.
From a taco truck.
Yes, and it was yummy. And yeah, Johnny, how was your experience with phone banking today?
It was good. Today we were calling it Iowa because there's the Iowa caucuses February 3rd. And so it's basically just seeing who is going to be voting for Bernie, or if they're leaning towards Bernie, or if they're not voting for Bernie. And so we got a lot of people that were like, don't call this number, or like people just cursing us out or cursing out Bernie. But we also got some people that were really excited to volunteer. So I think based off the calls, it's hard to see about like the enthusiasm of all of Iowa.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it. I mean, it was fun.
Yeah. It was interesting because all the other times we phone banked, it's been people in California. And I mean, we've kind of had the same-ish experience with calling people in California, but I feel like generally I get a lot more people that support Bernie and or are at least more open to hearing what I have to say on the phone about him.
Yeah, I just wanted to say though, if you're thinking of phone banking, don't be scared of people like getting mad or anything, because all you have to do, what they usually do at first is they'll hang up. So like any bad encounters aren't really that bad because you just move on to the next one. You know, like everybody in the world is gonna have a different response to things. So don't take anything to heart. I think in general, just don't take anything to heart though. Even when you're talking about this stuff, if people say ridiculous things, which sometimes they do, then just say, all right. So like this one guy was like, I'm voting for Trump. And I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. So, and then I tried to, you know, talk about why we should support Bernie. And that's the best we can do for now.
Yeah, and I think another thing that people get scared of with phone banking is like, oh, what do I say if someone asks a question and I don't know the answer to like one of Bernie's policies or just, you know, anyone's policies. I wouldn't worry too much about that, honestly. The phone banking is more for the campaign to get an idea of who's supporting Bernie, and
they give you a script too.
Yeah, and collecting data, and they give you a script to follow. So the phone banking isn't about going in with like, I'm gonna persuade all these people. Like if you're like Johnny and you want to do that, you can. But if you just want to help out the campaign by going through the script and just collecting data, like that's also very much appreciated, So don't feel like you have to go in persuading every person you call, So, yeah.
All right, cool.
All right.
See ya.
Cool.